Good evening, all. I'm sorry I'm a bit wind swept, but I think it's the fans. We got some fans on in here. I know it's cold outside. If you're in the West Country, it is. It's freezing at the moment. Okay, we are now going to join Christine. Christine, and what do you actually do? Tell everybody about yourself.
Sure. So I'm from the United States. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. I live currently in Miami, Florida. And I left my corporate job. I was working at Harvard University in Boston. I left the job in September of 2018 and I moved across the country and I opened Freelance and Freedom, which is my business. I started out as a virtual assistant, but I soon realized that wasn't my passion. And so I became certified as a life business coach. And so now I help people open their own businesses. I'm also a newly published author and working on the motivational speaker aspect as well.
Brilliant, really good, really good. And tell us about your book.
Sure. So it's called Blondie Without Borders. And I basically grew up my entire life with no boundaries. And so the book is somewhat of a memoir. There's a storyline to it as well. But the story goes through walking through Seville, Spain, which is my favorite city in the world, and I used to live there. And I'm walking through the city with my husband, and as we run into people or see things, it sparks a memory, which then causes me to tell the story. So the book struggles or talks about struggles with issues with food addiction, alcohol addiction, abusive relationships, going through depression, and kind of overcoming these issues and spending money, any kind of struggle with no boundaries. And I share at the end of each chapter my lessons learned and also a section on why boundaries are important and how to create them in our own lives.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what you do.
Mhm.
Can I come back to the point about abusive because you were actually um, one of your partner was abused with you.
Yes. So I actually had two abusive relationships. One was a boyfriend at the time, and I was still in my drinking days then. I'm gratefully sober today. But we were both alcoholics, and he came home one night and actually almost killed me. It was a near death experience. And after that, dated for a while. I got sober and met my husband, my ex-husband, when I was living in Spain, and he was more mentally and verbally abusive. We ended up moving back to the United States. But at one point, he lunged at me when we were in an argument, and I knew from my previous relationship that if I continued with him, that it would just get more physical and worse. So I left him as well.
Being an alcoholic, um,
Hmm.
what was it? What was it like to be an alcoholic? Everybody loves to drink, but the trouble is, it's the hangover in the morning. Now, it's the hangover in the morning. But the trouble is, when I used to be an alcoholic, I used to kind of drink a lot of whiskey, and I used to get, everybody knows the story. Well, most people do, and I used to get angry with my partner, my
Hmm.
girlfriend, out that way. So,
Hmm.
um, and I'm trying to ask, you know, there's always a why behind why you drink.
Hmm.
What was your why?
So I experienced some abuse by a caretaker when I was younger. And from that young age, I remember asking her for food constantly to self-soothe myself, to kind of get out of that yucky feeling situation. So I know that the issue started with food, And then as I became a teenager, turned into alcoholism. So it really was my why of wanting to be loved. And I never really learned self-love. And so it was really looking for, food was my best friend, alcohol was my best friend. Um, Unfortunately, it was bringing me down the path of being
Were you
killed.
looking? Were you looking for attention then?
Um, I never really liked to be the center of attention, but when I drank, it made me very loud and boisterous and, you know, but people eventually had to end up taking care of me. I was like that girl that no one wanted to be around. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was love. I was more fun and open. So I guess, yeah, for people to like me and feel okay about myself when I was drinking.
The trouble is, the trouble is, with women, or with women, shouldn't they have a drink? They they're all over the place. They like a good laugh, and I must admit. But the trouble is, it's to a certain point when they get a bit silly and when things happen. And the trouble is, did you know in the United States at the moment, there's a lot of when people. There was a survey the other day saying about women being drunk, then all of a sudden being raped
Mm.
because women prey on men when they're drunk. What do you say about that?
Women prey on men or men
Yeah,
prey on.
yeah, yeah. Women prey
Um,
on men. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, I was in certain situations, difficult situations with alcohol and men, but it wasn't my choice. I wasn't preying on the men. So
Yeah.
I,
Oh no,
I
I'm not saying you. I just brought it up as example because when somebody drinks, like it was said in the survey about women when they get drunk and everything, they were trying to prey on the men or they're going out and everything. But it's a vice versa because men do that anyway. That's their. But the
yeah.
trouble is, it was just what I saw in the notes earlier when I was looking at it.
I mean, I think women definitely, when they drink, they could become more flirty and open, and
Yeah,
perhaps
yeah, yeah,
men consider that
yeah, yeah,
being forward or aggressive, but
yeah.
that wasn't my experience.
When you started drinking, was it just because you were? Was it being when you sorry, I've got to start again. When you started drinking,
Mhm.
was it something to do, or was it because you want to go out with your friends?
So I had a boyfriend who was 2 years older than me. So I started around 15, so he was 17, and he introduced it to me. I again wanted I lived by the mentality of like living life to the fullest, and to me that was binge drinking and partying every weekend. And if I wasn't, then I wasn't living life to the fullest. So I associated the two to be one and the same. So it started with weekend binge drinking, but then moved to later on to daily drinking at one point. And even wanting to drink on the job, which I gratefully never did, but thought about it and stared at the liquor store out the window. Uh, so it was more to have fun, but then turned into a more serious addiction.
Yeah, yeah. And when it got serious, what what point did it get serious? Did something happen, like a trigger that made you stop?
Yes. So I guess I reached a bottom, like we say. So I First, I was pulled over drunk numerous times driving, but I gratefully didn't get any drunk, sightings or tickets or anything. But there were two near death experiences within 2 weeks. So the first one was the one I mentioned previous to my boyfriend coming home and
Yeah, yeah,
attacking me. And the second one was 2 weeks later, where I was in a drunk driving accident with my two sisters in the car. And it was snowing, and the car spun around and was totaled. However, the three of us walked out of there unharmed. So that was what started me to realize, okay, alcohol is a big factor. My father also is a man of very few words and usually very supportive, But at one point, he told me, like, I was almost living out of my car, and he was
Mm.
like, "Your car looks like the car of an alcoholic. Like, you need to get help." And when you're in your 20s, it's hard to associate that because everyone's going out and partying and
Yeah,
drinking,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
but those were kind of the main events that led me to. I started going to Alcoholics Anonymous and got sober.
So you went there. Did you go to rehab or anything?
I never went to rehab. Because again, the alcoholism, it was more binge drinking there were points that it was daily, but I felt like I could still kind of control it. So no, I never went to rehab.
Okay. And how long did it take for you to kind of like, 'cause, um, see, the trouble is, because I got to look on two stories here, see,
Hmm.
and the one of the, so I'm going to flip the coin for a minute, if
Yeah,
you don't mind,
of course.
where I want to say, one, it was your decision to kind of like drink anyway,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Two, uh, you know, um, you're young, you wanted to get out, you wanted to kind of like get drunk and enjoy yourself and everything, and you know what I mean, and party and everything. And I remember those days a long time ago. Um, but but that's a long time ago. And the trouble is, so a lot of people will say, "Well, that's their fault." What do you what would you say to these people who saying that?
I'm sorry, you said it was like it's her fault, like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
fault.
yeah.
Absolutely, I take 100% uh, responsibility for my drinking days. It's, once you start, for an alcoholic, it's hard to stop. They say the first drink is the one that gets you drunk
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
can't stop. You can't just have one or two or three over the night. For me, it
yeah,
was all or nothing, so it was all in.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so it was my fault completely.
But what
Um,
happened if you were driving and all of a sudden you killed somebody,
I
knocked somebody
know.
over?
I can't imagine. Yeah, it would have been my fault, absolutely, and I would have deserved whatever punishment was given to me, and unfortunately, those sad situations happen, and I'm so grateful and lucky that I wasn't one of those. Um,
Because that would have been capital punishment, wouldn't it? That would have been kind of like manslaughter, I think.
here, it would have been probably life in jail, but,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
no killing, but
yeah.
still very serious, yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's fine. Um, I'm not trying to be horrible. I'm just kind of like looking at
Mhm.
the two sides of it,
Yeah.
right? If I told you what I used to do when I'm drunk, I got arrested and put in the police station overnight. I found out a man though. It's a long story, um, but the trouble is, we all when we're younger, we all do things. We all do things.
Mhm.
Then all of a sudden, we kind of stop and say, right, we're gonna change. So when you changed, when you went to AA
Mhm.
and you changed, did you ever pick up a bottle again and say, oh well, I know I'm going to AA, but I'm going to have a drink?
I did. I had one relapse. Um, I was 3.5 years sober, living in Spain, and I decided to have a drink, which led to 5 days of me locked up in my apartment. It was holiday, and my roommate had left a bottle of wine, and I was alone in the apartment, and I stared at it for 30 minutes thinking, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I, the insanity. And I finally did. I opened it, and from then I couldn't stop, and it was 5 days straight of drinking and smoking again in my room. And on the fifth day, I met my abusive ex-husband, and I was vulnerable. I was, trying to get sober, and he didn't drink. So I thought that he was kind of my savior, and I thought, oh well, if I date him or hang out with him, then
He'll buy you the booze.
no, he'll help me stay sober because he didn't drink. So
Yeah.
I thought that he would help
Did he
me.
help you?
I did stay sober,
No,
so
no,
I've
no,
been.
no, 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 don't laugh about it. no. What I'm trying to say, I'll tell you what it is, right? I bet he helped you. No, no, he didn't help you, but he probably come back with you because he wanted either sex or kind of like he still wanted to abuse you. So all I'm trying to say to you is, right? I know you. I can see you smiling there, but you know, I did when you had him back. Was it because you wanted him to be a feeder for you? So you go out and say to him, "Oh, can you go and get me some bottles of drink?"
He didn't drink at
No, no,
all.
that. No, I'm not asking that. I'm saying, but did you ask him to buy you drink?
No, he didn't want me to drink. He
Right,
he was a Muslim, so he didn't. What he was kind of protecting me by not drinking himself and not. I stopped after I have been sober since then. He
right.
he would get angry if I even told him I was thinking about have a drink. So
Okay.
so
Did you
no.
drink? Did you drink beyond his back?
No. No, I have been sober since that day.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Okay, okay. And so and how long have you been sober now for?
The since 2012 that was. So
Two,
9 year 9.5 years.
9.5 years. And well, I can. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I am very, very proud of you for what you've done.
Oh,
I
thank you.
don't even know you, but this channel here is about helping people. I'm sorry, I'm a bit harsh when interviewing you.
No,
But
that's okay.
people want to hear two sides of the story. You know what I mean,
Yeah, of
right?
course. Yeah.
And I always does it with people about drugs, alcohol, you name it, we do it.
Yeah.
The trouble
No, I'm
is
happy
now,
to share.
9 years you've been sober.
Yes.
Have you, right, in those 9 years,
Mhm.
been on the bottle in between?
No, no, not at all. Nothing. I almost lost my life. I lost my ex-husband. I do not need nor want that life. Zero alcohol. Absolutely
Right.
not. In fact, my husband now is I'm the day I met him, he also stopped drinking for his own choice, but also to support me. So we do not drink at all. And I have not drank since 2012.
Okay. Okay. And now you're saying that you're sober,
Hmm.
and you're getting on with your life. So, are you helping other people to kind of like stay off the stay off the booze, or are you kind of like saying to people, what are you doing now? Are you kind of like helping people? Are you now with keeping them off the booze?
Yeah, so I do some life coaching in my business, and I work with some people that have issues with substances. Um, I stayed in AA for a while, but then I kind of moved to a therapist and worked with her until last year. So, but I am open to always sharing my story and how it impacted me. I used to speak at AA and share my story. Um, my 10-year is in June and my 10-year sober. So I actually would like to find a community and share for my 10-year, God willing that I get there. And
Well, put it this way. Put it this way. You can when it's 10 years. What we're going to do. We're going to invite you back
yeah.
every
Oh,
month from now on until you get to your 10 year. And I'll tell you what, right? Uh, in the meantime, make sure you don't pick up a bottle.
no, no. I
Okay.
really don't have the desire anymore because I saw what my life was and what it is today. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't need it.
yeah, yeah. It's everybody loves to drink. So what are you going to do for Christmas, and what do you do when Christmas comes along, or New Year's Eve comes and everybody else is drinking? What do you drink? Orange juice?
Yeah, absolutely. I drink, sometimes buy like non-alcoholic wine or juice. My family's very supportive because they saw how my life was before and they don't want me to drink either. So, and again, I have my husband by my side. He doesn't drink either. Um, so we're big travelers. So we'll go places and visit, and we just find joy in other things and not in alcohol. So I never want to go back to that life. My family drinks, my sisters drink, my parents have a glass of wine, but healthy, not crazy. And I would feel like I was letting them down and letting myself down, of course, if I ever took a drink again.
Well, you're not
So
letting them down. You're letting yourself down, ain't you? If that happens again,
yes,
you
exactly.
know,
Yep.
you know,
I've worked too hard to get to where I am to let a silly drink get in the way.
yeah. Then you got to go to AA. Then you got to stand up in front of everybody and go,
Yeah, the
my name
embarrassment.
is, you know, I hated it. I hated it. When I used to go, my name is Steve. I'm an alcoholic, and I was thinking,
Mhm.
what? You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's degrading at that point, isn't it? When you kind of go in.
I did it once, and in fact, I hid it for a while from my AA group in Spain when I relapsed, and I hid it from them because I was so ashamed, and then I ended up coming clean. So, um, it's not worth the shame that you feel.
No, no, no. So if anybody knows this lady, do not send her any bottles of Blanc,
Yeah,
champagne, whatever.
please no.
No, send her some orange juice.
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
just about your book, really. So what did you call your book?
Blondie Without Borders.
Right,
So,
okay. Have
mhm.
you got a copy of your book there?
I have it on the table here.
Yeah, can you pick up and show everybody?
Sure. Just one second.
That's all right. Right. So tell everybody where they can get this book.
Sure. It's on Amazon. Um, and there's Kindle and the print version.
Right. And how much is it?
It's $9.99 for the paperback and 99 cents for the Kindle.
There you go, guys. It's worth getting it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, we've got a couple of questions here for you
Sure.
because we're on radio and podcast here.
Okay.
Um, so here we go. What's the first question? Right. Um, Hi, Christine. My name's Rob.
Hi, Rob.
It's really nice to know you. You're not going to like me about saying this, but when you started drinking, did you ever thought of your family and people around you?
Did I ever fight with them? Is
No,
that the question?
did you ever think about them when you
Oh,
were drinking?
yeah, that's a tough one. Sometimes because I would miss family events, family important engagements, or holidays because I was drinking. And so I later made amends with them, but often I was just thinking of myself. I would say alcoholism is a very selfish disease. And I had to take responsibility and look at all of that once I got sober. So oftentimes I wasn't thinking of my family. And I'm grateful that they were open and forgiving and willing to let me back into their life and forgive me. And I just try to use my behavior and example now going forward as kind of a long lasting amends to them.
Hmm. Well done. Uh, um, Jess, is it Jess? Yeah, Jessica. Hi, Christine. I love your story about your drinking. I've been an alcoholic now for around about 6 years.
Hmm.
I'm just about to kind of like try and get some help after listening to you.
Oh,
That was a remarkable story about you. I'm sorry about Steve here, but he likes to get the story out of people. Oh, thank you, thank you. Would it be possible if you could tell me your email address? What we will do, we don't do this online, but
okay.
if you want some information about Christine, what we'll do, we'll send it to you, and if you DM me afterwards, I will ask Christine if that's okay, and we will send you some information through. And if you're getting help, well, well done.
Yes, I'm happy to share and to chat with you. And I hope you do take that step to make your life better.
Really good, really good. But trouble is, though, now, Christine, is Christmas is coming up in the UK and
Hmm.
probably in America too. Over
Hmm.
there, it's Thanksgiving for you, isn't it? Over in America, isn't it?
First Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and my
Christmas, yeah.
birthday is in between there, so it was tough, a tough time of year for me too. I understand that.
Yeah, yeah. It must be when I remember when my birthday's on the 6th of December.
Oh, we're
And then,
close. On the 30th of November.
all right, okay, well done, well done. Happy birthday. Um, Richard wants to know, hi Steve, could you ask Christine what was it like to kind of like not have anybody at all, just a bottle around her? How many bottles of drink does she drink a day?
Oh, well, it depended on the occasion. Some so when I had the relapse, I was drinking like 2 or 3 bottles of wine in like a few hours, and then getting very sick. So that was, I loved wine. That was my favorite. But like when I was drinking with my alcoholic boyfriend, we often would drink whiskey and Red Bull. We would go through bottles. So I was a very quick drinker, one after the other. So it really depended on what I was drinking. But I could probably do a good like 15 beers too. Um, so it just depended.
Gosh, some men can't drink around about 4 pints and 15 beers these days.
Yeah,
Um,
not something to brag about.
it's nothing to brag about. um, Lewis wants to know, when you kind of like started, when did you start your recovery, and how long did it take you to officially get off the booze? I bet that's been hard. And also, when you were drinking, did you ever take drugs?
So I'll answer the first question. So the first time I got sober was February of 2009, because I had those two near death experience in December of 2008. So I finally decided to go to AA and get sober in February of 2009. Then I had the relapse in April of 2012. And then kind of since then have been sober. So again, those near death experiences really were my bottom, and they really scared me. Although, again, I did relapse for those 5 days, 3 years later. So it took me, but after that, I was so scared, because I saw exactly what alcohol, I went right back, or even worse, when I had the relapse, to where I was right when I left off when I got sober 3 years before. So I realized, yes, I still have this disease, and yes, I am still an alcoholic. Um, so again, I didn't want to go back to that life. So after the fifth day, I was able to stop drinking, and haven't drank since then. Um, and then the other question was,
About drugs?
oh, drugs. For some reason, I was always afraid of drugs. I would, smoke pot or hash when I was living in Spain, because it would come from Morocco. But I was never really a huge fan. And even now, the smell makes me sick. I was really always afraid of drugs, but for some reason, not afraid of alcohol. So I'm grateful that I never got into drugs, because I know some people do. But alcohol was always my drug of choice.
Philippa says, hi Steve, I'm glad you got Christine on. Is she coming back again soon? Well,
Oh,
we are going to ask her. Yes, yeah, yeah.
oh, thank you.
Um, is Christine coming back soon? I I used to drink quite a bit, and I used to have a go at my. I used to be violent to my husband. I ended up going into a rehab for 6 months.
Mm,
The trouble is, when I came out of rehab, I still wanted to drink.
mm,
And I found it very tough because
mhm,
other people was drinking around me,
mm,
and especially it was difficult to when I was working in a brewery in Newcastle. I
mhm.
find it very difficult at the moment to get off drink, and it's giving me it's really playing up on my life. I have been in hospital for several months too for lung problems and kidney problems.
Mhm.
The doctors tell me it's a part of my drinking problem. What can I do?
Um,
It's a bit of
So
a drink, really, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, we all really decide when is enough, when is our bottom. I was scared of dying. I felt like I had more in my life to give and to be able to help other people. And so I didn't want to die. And so I made the choice and really indulge myself in AA, only sober people. I couldn't go to bars for a really long time, or sometimes restaurants, or I would make plans and sometimes have to cancel. But I did everything I needed to do and followed the program so that I would stay sober. I had a sponsor. I went through the steps of recovery. I've gone through them probably 3 or 4 times, and just really leaned on the people that were supportive of me and who were sober at that time. So sometimes we do have to cut out things in order to get sober, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, and also what I will do, if you contact us, we will put you in contact. We've got counsellors here too, so we'll
Oh,
probably put you in contact with one of our counsellors,
oh, that's
and they
great.
will be able to help you. So there you go. Christine, thank you so much for joining us. It's
Thank
been
you.
it's
Thanks for
been
having
wonderful.
me.
Yeah, and if was a bit over the top, I am so sorry, but I'm well known for that sometimes.
No, no worries.
Um, but I'd just like to get stuff out of people. That's all.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So, and if people want to contact you, what's your website?
It's freelanceandfreedom.com. So freelance and then the letter N, freedom.com. And that's also my Instagram.
There you go, guys. So, get in contact with Christine,
Love
and
to
she,
hear from you.
yeah, she will, and brilliant. And don't forget to buy a book too. That's probably interesting. Thank you very much, Christine. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye bye.
Bye.